Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you are listening or watching this show. It's Mike Singer and Tim Hyde with the Notre Dame Football Show on our Blue and Gold YouTube channel, as well as wherever you get your podcasts. Hope everyone is doing well this week. Hope you are recovering after Notre Dame's heartbreaking 17-14 loss against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Lots to talk about tonight. We're going to do a little bit of a reflection on Ohio State, not too much time on it. We're going to look ahead to Duke, and we might be able to talk about some recruiting near the end of the show with Notre Dame landing 3 new commitments over the weekend. Yeah, look at the first 3 comments here. I got my boy Lux, Kev, and Mr. Dorito. I know all these guys, so I hope everyone is doing well. Kevin says, is Tim still fuming? We'll talk about that very shortly. Folks, please do hit the thumbs up on this video, of course. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not done so yet. And seriously, if you like the podcasts and you have not reviewed us yet, especially on Apple, it really helps out because we don't get too many reviews on Apple, and they're either all 5 stars or 1 star. So if you like the show, let us know. That would be great. Yeah, Tim, are you still fuming? How are you feeling? What, 4 days later?
I don't know about fuming. I'll be very honest. I have yet to watch the last drive on defense. Just haven't watched it. I've broken down the game. I'm Mike. I got notes. I think I'm going to try and I got a good buddy in Hollywood. Try and write a little script with him. I got a lot of notes, a lot of details, timeouts, time markers, you name it. But last night I was done. Wife's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I can't. I'm done. I'm done watching it. I'm not watching the last drive. We know what the heck happens. I'm not even going to watch it. I'm going to break down who didn't reroute, who didn't fit the B gap. Who cares?" But it's a lot. I mean, God, you hate to say it. As a coach, it's always there's so many good things in that game. So many guys played really good football, and then oh my gosh, real quick,
yeah.
One of the announcers during the ball game, I actually listened to him on the rewatch. I have it nice and loud. The stadium was rocking. It was awesome. But one of the quotes, they were talking about old Al Golden. They're like, we met with Golden this week talking about the game. And, they asked him, what did Blackledge talking about, what did you learn from your time in the NFL? You know what Al Golden said?
What?
Like the majority of NFL football games are not won until the final 4 minutes. And I have the sticky note somewhere, and I'm just like, "Are you kidding?" I think it's still in my basement office. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" How true was that in that football game? Notre Dame, inches away from winning that thing, basically. One play here, one play there, and it came down to the last 4 minutes. And then when you look at it, the last 4 minutes, Notre Dame didn't do this. But it was Ohio State did some things. And I like to say they had 3 5-stars that made plays. Their defensive end, JT, a Mecca at wide receiver, and McLeod. 3 5-stars. The Notre Dame, as we know, doesn't have any on the consensus. I think I counted during the summer when I was doing the prepping for the whole season. Ohio State, I think I counted 15 or 16 consensus 5-stars on that roster, with Notre Dame was 0, obviously. And they had 3 dudes step up at the end. And it's a killer because the old line played good. They had, the running backs. You could Mitch Evans looked like a future NFL football player on that thing. And the 2 corners. It's almost like someone was talking about the message board this week, like so many times where Notre Dame has been stuffed in the run game with great offensive lines. This one, it feels like you wasted that O-line performance. The way they pass pro'd, the way they run blocked, it was just unbelievable. And then 2 corners that played like they're wasting their time on Saturdays. They look ready for the NFL. They could go play this weekend. And Ben Morrison and obviously Cam Hart. But then at the other end of the day, Mike, what are some of the flaws we've always talked about Notre Dame came to light? Safety play. Poor Thomas Harper. It didn't matter. I mean, whoever was covering anybody in the slot just got beat nonstop. Wide receiver, vertical stretch routes, trying to be dudes. Obviously, no plays down the field. They did attack more, and we'll get into that in the second half. And then D-line. Who's going to pass rush? still to this day, just like the amount of pass rushing, the amount of just they just can't get there. It's been 5 games. It's been the same story every game. You don't count Navy, but it's just been the same thing. So we'll see what happens. Marcus Freeman has a massive, just week mentally preparing this football team. We're going to learn so much about him this week. Not to put pressure on him, but hey, it's Notre Dame football. We're going to learn a lot because they had some huge emotional wins. And I'll wrap this up by they had emotional games, excuse me. Ohio State, next week you lost. Las Vegas, right? Las Vegas, the road trip, the hype, BYU, Las Vegas was a Super Bowl onto itself. Lose to Stanford the next week. Clemson, obviously the big upset over number 4 Clemson, barely survive against Navy. And now we got Ohio State. So these are some of the the big emotional games where Freeman gets his guys ready. What's going to happen the next week? So going at Duke, you said it in your pre notes here. It's the Duke Super Bowl. So it's going to be a heck of a game Saturday. We're going to learn a lot about this Notre Dame team. I think they're a lot better than I fully expected in August. So I'm excited to see what they do on Saturday.
Wow, Tim, I thought you were just going to talk for the entire show. So I'm like, man, I don't know where
man.
my ads.
That felt good. That felt good, Mike.
I had to get that 4 minutes off his chest real quick.
It felt good though.
Tim,
go for it.
When you talked about the kind of the missed opportunity to cash in on that offensive line performance, I pulled up. So this is just Audric estimates 14 runs. Only one of them went for loss. I mean, you had -1, 0, 1, 3, 22, 4, 16, 1, 1, 0, 6, 4, 2, 11, which I know it's a lot of low numbers on there,
Sure.
but, average of 5 yards per carry, you take that all day long. Still such a weird game, Tim. We definitely got some stuff to talk about here. Already had a super chat coming from Andrew. He says, Tim, if you were the offense coordinator, would you go with more 2 tight ends in the passing game? Evans and Stays were the best pass catchers. Outside wide receiver plays not great. Why wait until second half to make adjustments?
Well, we're going to see 2 tight ends this week. I think it's going to be something we get into about the wide receivers. More than likely you're going to have Coles. Obviously Colsey's having some form of knee surgery. Highly doubt Thomas is going to play if he's got a sore hamstring, a tight hamstring. So many big games, down the road.
Hamstring? Yeah,
I thought Freeman said it was a hamstring because he came out on one of the runs in the game in the second half. I mean, we didn't see him that. So the rest of the game. So it's
yeah,
right.
Yeah, it is hamstring.
So I highly doubt we see him. And I'm sure we're going to see more 2 tight ends, more Holden Stays. Well, obviously he's had a great few games, and we barely saw him the other night. So I'm sure that's what's going to happen moving forward here as they the offense may start looking a little bit more like last year with some of the personnel issues when you get to the wide receiver. But obviously the running back room's healthy, and they got some great tight ends that you utilize. And those guys are pass catchers too in the slots. When you Evans and Stays, those are some big wide receiver targets.
Yeah, that reception by Mitchell Evans with the one-hand grab was really fantastic. Tim, a couple more things that I wanted to get to here right now. At the end of the Goolsby show Sunday, this guy Line Jumper, the name being so ironic that a guy named Line Jumper could not jump in line enough for, I mean, dude, he posted this super chat with like 30 seconds left. And I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I'll try to get you next time. So Line Jumper, I hope you're listening back to this or watching live or watching back, whatever it is. So he had a super chat, and I think this is a really good thing to talk about, Tim. He says, what do you think Sam Hartman is thinking? He was brought here to lead a wide open offense. Instead, it's dink and dunk hour. And I want to say, Tim, after the game, I asked you, like, do you think that Sam, I mean, that was just the offense, that Sam's just going to dink and dunk and just going to take care of the football and, not take shots and, play conservative? Or was he just missing guys downfield or just not taking those shots? So, I guess, Tim, what do you think Sam Hartman's thinking?
Well, he's definitely thinking they lost a game by a couple plays, no doubt about that. He's thinking this week you got to beat Duke, so do whatever you can to beat Duke. But did he come to Notre Dame to be this wide open running gun offense? No, he came to Notre Dame to run a NFL style pro offense because That's what the NFL scouts told him. You're not in one. We've never seen you in one. We want to see you. So that's the main reason why he came to Notre Dame was to do that. That's what Notre Dame's doing. A lot of pro sets, tight end sets, running back sets, you name it. They're doing a lot of pro things. That's the offense Notre Dame's doing. Parker's even talked about that, where Parker said in one of his press conferences, I think during the preseason, where he was like, yeah, we took Tommy Rees's 3 years. We're keeping terminology. We're keeping a lot. We're just mixing and matching, adding a few things, which we have seen a lot of different things this year as the season's gone on, with a lot more of obviously the two back sets, run games a lot different as they've gotten this season going. But the dink and dunk real quick is a great thing to bring up, because in the first, I'm a huge fan of the depth of target, meaning, if you're throwing a screen and it's 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, well, that pass attempt is -4 yards. Throw a 15-yard curl, it's +15. Add them up over the course of a game, you get what you get. And this going back to, I remember Tyler Horka or Patrick Engel wrote a great article when Hartman came aboard. Last year in 2022, he led the country in depth of target, meaning ball in the air, almost 13 yards every single time he threw it. It's going for 13 yards, meaning they're attacking downfield, going for first downs. First half alone, Mike, Sam Hartman threw 38 yards in the air. The ball traveled 38 yards, 2.5 per attempt. Second half, Notre Dame for the first time this year. I'm not counting the couple scrimmages they have. For the first time this year, 13.7, a full yard above what he did at Wake. So in the second half, they did attack. You had a couple completions. You had a pass interference. Should have had 2 pass interferences. They almost had 40 yards in the air on Thomas, if you guys remember, where they're ripping his sleeve off his arm. And they didn't call PI on that when they should have. So when they did finally attack down the field, and I like to chart 18 yards. That's a Nick Saban thing. Nick Saban likes to use pass explosives as 18 yards plus for his metric when he charts defense. So second half, Parker was way more aggressive with Hartman. So do they do that more? You may be able to answer this more as well about Greathouse Flores. Those are some of the guys they attacked with. Are they going to be more involved in this game? So it's just a little metric that they use, but Hartman did attack more in the second half.
Couple things. So this is Hartman's passing direction chart, according to PFF. How much more could they have attacked downfield if he only threw the ball 30 times? Or I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
3 times past 20 yards.
No.
And 4 times past 10 yards, according to this chart. Tim, what am I missing? Is this chart wrong? Or your chart wrong?
No. They have one right here. You have the second half. Let's go to the second half. The first drive, he had a 32-yard fade to Thomas, incomplete. That should have been a PI. Okay. He had an 18-yard pass to that was 18 yards in the air. That turned into a 30-yard pass to Greathouse. That's the one over the middle. You had the seam to Evans. That was 21 yards in the air that he got the first down. I count the PI as one. 22 yards to Tobias where he got PI'd.
Right.
It's 22 yards. So I count that since it's a pass play. So so that's a handful. And then as you're going real quick, just an example in the first half against Ohio State, +3 to Tyree, 3 yards meaning in the air, a -4 on a screen, a 4-yard hitch, a 4-yard quick out, 7-yard slant, -5-yard swing pass. So throwing the ball 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, a dump to Payne where he got pressured, went for -2. So these are just passes in the air. Whatever they do after the catch, that's yards after the catch.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing. But that's an example of how everything Notre Dame did in that first half was basically 10 yards and under. Second half, they're like, man, we got to attack.
Yeah.
And maybe they attack more, Mike, going back to your estimate chart, where estimate had a lot of, low digit numbers. Second half, man, the offensive line, whoever was the running back was getting yards. Yeah. They were attacking with that run game, running the ball more. I use that term body blows, where you're just beating the heck out of the defense, wearing them down. And they started to do that a lot more in the second half. So it seemed like Hartman looked like himself throwing deep like he did at Wake in the second half. So is that a little thing for down the road? We're going to find out at Duke.
Yeah. So for folks watching on YouTube, I got the passing stats up. So it's like the chart. Of course, this is just yards, and this is
Yeah.
not the how far he threw it stats, but that Tim's talking about. But figured I'd pop that up. So Tim, I'm curious, like your point here, is this like an optimistic thing? Like, okay, like maybe that's what they're going to do moving forward. That's kind of where you're at.
I hope so. I mean, seriously, I hope so because they need to attack. You have to attack. That's like you have to. I mean, you have, like I said, a fade to Thomas should have been oh my god, a foul. Pass interference. They didn't get it. They come back and throw the same fade to Tobias. They get the pass interference. So you're not going to move the chains like that unless you take shots. The seam, obviously, the great house. I call it the Ben route where he's just crossing deep. I mean, that's almost a 20-yard deep crosser they hit. If those things are there, go attack those things. And that's the same thing what they did with Mitchell Evans. So it's there. I left out the second half watching that. Like, I thought the Notre Dame offense was moving really, really well in that second half. So hope you just got to attack. They got to attack more with Sam Hartman. You got to.
Yeah. Tim, let's hear from a sponsor. And it's definitely a pretty neat one with Bird Dogs. And folks, if you are looking for slim fit, comfortable, what's the word I'm looking for? Flexible, and even stretchy shorts to rock this fall and into the spring. Stylish pants and polos to improve your wardrobe. Then you're going to check out our sponsor for today's show, and that's Bird Dogs. Their shorts fit way better than that regular stuff you might be wearing, which is made of a stiff, restricting cotton. Bird Dogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki but stretches so you get a slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. Go to birddogs.com/BGI or enter promo code BGI for a Hydro Flask style water bottle with your order. That's birddogs.com/BGI or promo code BGI for a free Hydro Flask style water bottle. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise you. Thank you to our sponsors for today's show, Bird Dogs. Tim, just real quick, and I don't want to dive into this, but I'm sure you'll want to. I think when like you and Goolsby are talking about Notre Dame needs to be able to stretch the ball downfield, they don't have the receivers to do that. I think when most people hear that, they think vertical 50 yards. That's nice, but for me, that's not what I'm thinking. That's a byproduct. Like, yeah, that's included, but I'm thinking it just can't be 5 to 10 yards or 0 to 10 yards all the time. You got to be able to do 15 to 25 yards. So you mentioned Rico Flores and Jaden Greathouse. Those guys might not be the 9 route burners, right? But they can be, a seam against a cover 3, a hitch and go on the outside. For big plays, 40 plus yards or so, but otherwise like 15 to 25 yards, let Sam Hartman work down the field. Notre Dame has the receivers for that. Do they have the 50-yard bomb right now? Maybe not, but you just be able to push the ball past 20 yards. They need that. So you in agreement, Tim?
Oh yeah. I mean, Greathouse is really good. When you go 0 to 20, Greathouse is outstanding in that area. He's really good at he runs 7 routes, corner routes, your flag routes, whatever you guys want to call them, outstanding. He's got a couple corner routes this year that are just excellent. Those are 15, 17 yards down the field. Same thing with Flores. Those guys are outstanding route runners for freshmen. So there's no reason why you can't use those guys. Then Evans and Stays. Stays had a couple big passes, was that North Carolina State? Seams past 18, 20 yards down the field. He caught one, I think, at 28 yards in the air. So you can stretch with those guys. It's just taking your spots. The go route guy, yeah, I've never believed in Thomas as a go route guy.
No.
The go right guy, your deep post is Tobias.
It
is Tobias, or you're going to get a wheel route, some form of just a slot, a push fade, which Ohio State ran multiple times. You take the slot, and the outside guy just runs a quick hitch, and he just pushes right up the sideline. That was the PI on J.D. Bertrand against Henderson. That's something Chris Tyree should be running twice a week. Who the heck's going to cover him down the field?
Yeah.
They haven't done that. So that's where I think Notre Dame needs to start mixing and matching and start taking some shots. Yeah. It's not 4 verts, 9 routes.
Yeah.
They don't have those dudes.
Yeah. Tim, you look a lot like I'm watching the show, obviously. You look a lot clearer. You're in the boathouse. And I'm like, why does Tim look so much more clearer on my screen and more handsome than ever? My wife cleaned my laptop screen today.
There you go.
And it was disgusting. And now I feel like I can see you and see myself. I'm like, man, who's this handsome guy, with the goatee? And
well, first off, I'm in the boathouse because the wife's got friends over. She said, did Notre Dame win or lose? I was like, they lost. I was like, you're going to the boathouse. So I said, okay. I get it. I got it, sweetheart. I got it. And she's a Notre Dame alum. She's like, you're out of here. So
she calls it the boathouse too?
Oh, it is the boathouse. Yeah, this is the mother-in-law's boathouse right here. Yes.
But it literally looks like you're on a boat. So yeah, it's fun.
Exactly. I'm going to run with it.
All right. So we're going to turn the page as much as we can, even though Tim's going to go to his grave talking about that Ohio State game. But we're going to talk some Duke. Tim, really interesting matchup, obviously. Searcher Green said this earlier. Bud Elliott on Cover 3 says Duke has the advantage at quarterback and wide receiver. Even Goolsby yesterday said that Duke has the better quarterback. Now, I think Duke might have the better pro passer, but like long-term player, but I don't know about right now. But yeah, Tim, what do you think about this?
There was a little 8-minute segment that they did. I saw on YouTube. I actually watched it earlier today with those guys, the Cover 3 guys. And yeah, I mean, but Elliott absolutely hates Notre Dame with, his entire body. So it's not a shock what he says when it comes to Notre Dame, but he might be right. Riley Leonard's good.
Yeah.
He threw a pass against UConn. Back foot, just flung it. Thing went 50 yards in the air. No effort. He's good. He's definitely going to get, top 30, 40. I mean, heck, he may go high the way NFL goes. Who knows with quarterbacks? Everyone gets picked in the top 10 if you could throw 20 yards. But he's good. The best quarterback in this game, if you had to take one game, I mean, once again, you take Sam Hartman. Why, Mike? 50 starts.
And then what do you do with them?
All the experience, and throw 2-yard hitches all game to him. The experience, Riley Leonard is good, but that is a great point of, for the first time this year, Sam Hartman is going to take the field with someone that could play quarterback as good, if not better than him, possibly. So that's going to be a heck of a matchup. See how those two guys. Hey, Bam! I watched last year's game with Wake. They had a battle. I think it was 35 or 34-31, something like that. Back and forth. They threw for like 300 some odd yards a piece. Sam Hartman takes the lead. Riley Leonard takes him right down the field. He retakes the lead. Hartman gets the ball, Mike. You ready? Sam Hartman gets the ball. Bam, bam, bam. The game ends on what? An interception at Duke. And Duke pulls the upset off, and they go on to win 9 games with Mike Elko's rookie season, as much as Marcus Freeman. So a nice little battle just between those guys last year.
As much as everyone likes to talk about recruiting rankings and all that.
Yeah,
I like to call him a data point. On 3 did rank him a 4-star.
Oh, okay.
But everyone else, 3-star across the board.
Yeah.
And then you look at Notre Dame's quarterback, of course. 3-star across the board. So a couple decent passers here, but
I don't know much about Riley. I don't know his background. Don't know anything. I don't even know where he's from. I just
Alabama.
Oh,
Bear Hope, Alabama. Can't say I'm familiar.
Yeah, how many SEC offers did he get, or is it just Cutcliffe liked him out of camp and took him? He is really good. He could run. He's better than 1,000 times better than Armstrong.
Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Nebraska, Tulane.
Really? There you go. Vandy. He's not bad. He could run. He's got a really good wide receiver. I think his name's Calhoun. I've seen he's also a return guy, outstanding athlete. I hate to say it, Mike, because every time I say it, it doesn't come true. Notre Dame's D-line just needs to manhandle the Dukies up front. They do. It's like, when are they just going to I'm just going to pick you up, throw you, get you out of the way, and dominate a football game? Because there's no reason why the Duke O-line should be able to handle Notre Dame.
A couple super chats, Tim. Do you know why Notre Dame didn't utilize play action?
That, man, hey, ask Parker. No one asked Parker. Okay? By the way, yeah, I listened to Jared Parker's questions, and it's just like, hey, here's a couple softballs. He didn't get I'm getting these questions. I don't coach at Notre Dame. I don't make 1.5 mil. Ask him. Shoot him.
You and Goolsby are are kind of like getting on the media, like, hey, Tyler Horka, why don't you ask these? Hey, I'm like, Mike, Tyler's the one who asked Freeman not once but twice about the 10-man thing. Not Priester, not Sampson. Love those guys, by the way.
I agree.
My boy Tyler Horka.
Hey, I will give Tyler kudos nonstop. I agree.
I'm sure they were going to, but Tyler probably beat him to it. But
who knows, man? It's a little powder puff. But yeah, why didn't Parker use it? They ran the ball 39 times. I think they did 2 play actions.
That's crazy.
I don't get it. I don't get how Estime had 20 carries against the Chippewas, 14 against Ohio State.
We were wrong.
I was wrong. He's the face of ESPN. He's with McAfee. He's with all these guys. He had 14 more carries than me. So come on.
That's crazy.
I agree.
That's crazy. Hey, shout out to Tyler Horka, because I know he's probably our most dedicated listener, because he tells me he listens. He's walking his dog. He listens to all the podcasts. So
love it.
Tyler, hello, my friend. ND Nation said would have liked to see Ludwig with this offense. Dude, Parker's doing a really good job.
The only question, I mean, when you say this offense, I mean, Utah's struggling, right? Offensively, from what I've seen. I haven't watched any of the plays, just seen scores. But when I get it, when I see a question like that, it's like, okay, well, what's wrong with the offense? Outside, I mean, do you want to take more deep shots? Okay, well, who are you throwing him to? My big question on this offense, going back to Sam Hartman's strength was back shoulder fades. They haven't thrown one this year. And that's probably because the coaches are like, we can't run them. We don't have guys to run them.
Tim, a back shoulder. So, I mean, they have the guys to that, but would you just think the corners are just going to play it so tight that you can't even throw that?
But that's when you do throw it, because you're coming
right. So why not? I mean, I think Jaden Thomas actually be a pretty good.
Talk to Horka, talk to Jack, get some questions, because Parker meets with the media every week. So he meets with the media every week. I hear you. I hear you. No. I mean, there are a handful, but I think Parker's doing a heck of it's been fine. There's a couple plays.
Yeah.
I mean, the only 2 that just drive me nuts is the 4th and inches with Hartman keeping it. It's like, why?
Guys,
you don't need to. The play action pass they had set up. If Sherwood just stays on his block for a millisecond longer, Hartman gets the darn thing. And then the 2-back crisscross where they lose 5 yards, I'm just like, why? I say why, not that, because it's easy to second guess, but I'm a big believer, Bill Belichick always talks about play the situations.
Right.
Well, you had Flores with the first down catch, Estime with 11-yard run. Buckeyes are reeling now, and the Buckeyes are like, damn it, we got to attack. We got to come after these guys. We got to create a negative, or they're going to burn this clock out. And you slow play, crisscross, backfield action, boom. That killed the momentum right there. Instead of just like, Estime, go get me 3-4 yards.
Yeah.
Just get me 3 or 4 yards, and let's just keep moving forward. They got too cute in that moment.
Tim, before Ohio State, had anyone complained about Jared Parker's play calling? No, right? No, we didn't hear about that at all. I just think it's just, I think us as fans, we can be so much better and more critical thinkers when it's just all we want to do is like yell about the 10-man thing or yell about play calling because Notre Dame wants to go 14 points. Like we got to do better than that. Like we got to be more critical thinkers. So it's like people are. I think there's a guy in this YouTube channel or this YouTube live show. He's like, no excuses, fire everybody for the 10-man thing. Just I mean, if you're in a corporate world and you screw up, you get fired for this kind of thing. Like, oh, you know what? I'm like, man, fire the Pope. You know, Jesus is no longer Lord. I mean, where does it stop? I mean, seriously, not seriously, but I mean, like, we're
the whole, yeah. I mean, I really don't want to get into. I don't want to get into the 10-man thing. I think's been killed to death unless someone wants to super chat and ask a question.
No, don't.
No, we got 20 of them. No, but I'm just saying exactly that whole thing. Obviously, Freeman's the head football coach, but Freeman's not counting guys. Something happened. Horka had posted on the message board how it was they had 10 out there against Tennessee State. And it's the same situation. I went back and found the thing, and I posted a couple comments in that thread that Tyler had going where, yeah, the play before they were in Aztec, they were in dime. Sure enough, Snead comes in to replace Maris, so Snead's at Will Backer, 1-for-1 there. DB comes off the field. They're missing the 3-tech, Mike. Same thing at the goal line. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It is. I would. It's crazy. They played with 10 and Ohio State only gets in by an elbow. Can you imagine if Ohio State lost that game with 10 on the field with Ryan Day? Where's Ryan Day today, right? Is he hanging out with Lou Holtz in the retirement home? I mean, seriously. Is Columbus going to allow him back in?
Yeah. Well, Tim, Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be game time between Notre Dame and Duke. And it's a perfect time to segue to talking about the ticket buying process. It can be a stressful thing. You got to find that event you want, maybe the Notre Dame Duke game. You got to get those, you got to find the seats and you can go through that whole ticket purchasing process. It can be stressful, especially if you're finding those tickets last minute. But it shouldn't be stressful. And that's where GameTime.com, not GameTime.com, it's GameTime.co. Don't make that mistake like I just did. It's a fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer last-minute ticket deals so you can relax and get hyped for all that fun that you're going to have. And best of all, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase with the promo code BGI. They'll guarantee that you'll get the lowest price or they'll refund you by 110%. You really don't need to plan months in advance since they have deals up to game time. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code BGI for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. For that Broncos at Bears game, Tim, it should be free. Like, who wants to go watch the Bears? People should make money to go watch the Chicago Bears. The most interesting thing about the Bears right now is that Taylor Swift saw them play football. Sorry, I'm probably ticking off some people, but I mean, Bears fans, you're with me. I mean, I'm a Dolphins fan right now. We're 3-0. Tim, I never even gave you crap about the Dolphins beating the Patriots. It was a good game.
Why? They dominated. There's nothing to give me crap about. I
was crapping my pants in the fourth quarter. The Patriots were coming back. It was close.
Pats had a barn burner 15-10 this past week, or 15 whatever it was against
the Jets.
What a ball game that was. That was fun. Glad I mowed the lawn. It's like, holy moly. Speaking of that, you got Notre Dame, Ohio State. The football world's going crazy, right? You get the Kelsey Swift thing. That's the news of the hour. It's nuts. There's craziness all over college football. Day versus Holtz. What's going on with this place?
Drama. Right? Great Colorado and Oregon. Actually,
oh my gosh, those are some of the best comments of all time coming out of Coach Lanning's mouth.
On 3 wrote an article about this. I thought it was really interesting. Coaches bark adds spice to an already flavorful college football season. It talks about Davers, Holtz, Jake Dickert, Washington State's quarterback, took a shot at Lee Corso, who kind of took a shot at him. Yeah. The clickbait thing. Tim, the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. I am so here for it and love it so much. Oh. It is made my week, and it's been a tough couple weeks. It's very, very busy, but Swift's going to the Meadowlands this upcoming Sunday. Chiefs are going at Jets. She's going to be there. That news just broke today.
Oh boy, yeah, that's breaking news. But that's I want to know. I would like to chart the 300,000 followers Kelsey's got. It's like
400,000.
So 400,000 people are
Ticket,
like,
his jersey sales went up 400% or something crazy.
So who's buying all these? Everyone that goes to a Taylor Swift concert, I got to have a Kelsey jersey now. Are you that dedicated to the songs? I love it. I love it. Hey, if there's $1 to be made in America, it's being made, man. It's wild out there.
Tim, do you care about this?
No.
Oh, you're talking about it. Sorry, I thought you were.
Because it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious. It's America, man. We love, love.
Love.
We love the fluff and the love.
I could keep going. Anthony Bachhold says, when, and he has the word when in quotes there, we beat Duke and then run the table. I love that. Can we do that? Can we do what Notre Dame did in 77 and win a chip?
Well, seeing how there's a playoff and you run the table means you win every single game. They are national champs. Yes. But I guess he's thinking if they just win the regular season and get into the playoffs, I know that's playoff talk. But yeah, I mean, if they beat Duke, run the table, yeah, they win every single game the rest of the season. Yeah, they're national champs because, I mean, they beat somebody in the championship game. I guess I'll take that. Not to sound as easy as that, but that's what kind of sounds like. But I guess I will say, do they get into the playoffs at 11-1? They're going to be sitting at 4 or 5, right in that marker if they're at 11-1. Another Mike Singer prediction. There you go.
Yeah, and we are going to talk about that shortly. So, Anthony, I do appreciate the super chat, but yeah, Tim, like, do you like on the road, Duke Super Bowl, college game days there? Notre Dame has the talent advantage,
yes,
across the field, but man, how concerned are you about Duke?
Yeah, I guess you concerned because it's a football game. You never know who's going to show up, but I guess I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid, be naive, and just be like, no, I love the interviews that the guys gave yesterday. I love the interview, Sam. There's a great article out there with Sam Hartman giving quotes about what was talked about and the way the players are, looking at this thing. This is not Marshall. They're going to Duke. I mean, seriously, I think Goolsby talked about this on his show. If they were at home playing, 2-2 Duke, yeah, you'd be a blah hangover. It's a 3:30 kickoff on Peacock. Yeah, no one's going to get hyped up. You're going to ESPN game day. You're going to the Duke Super Bowl. You're playing an NFL quarterback. You're playing guys that think that they're going to beat you and they're going to go, and they're on their playoff run. No. Mike, there's a crazy stat. Speaking of the cover 3 guys, one of those guys busted out a stat. I remembered. This is the first time, Mike, since November. I haven't had time to look up the game. November 1960. Duke is hosting 2 ranked teams at home. 1960, Mike. I wasn't even born, right? I know you weren't. So how crazy is that? It's crazy. Duke's beaten 2 top 10 teams. Notre Dame's 11, so that's a good thing, right? 2 top 10 teams since 1989, and they're both Clemson. So there's Clemson for you. So, man, I think I've watched Duke, solid football team. Clemson went up and down the field on them. How Clemson didn't win 35-14? They didn't because they just blew that thing away. That was their 2011 South Florida game, is what it was. I think Notre Dame's going to go in there and take care of business.
So right. Clemson, I didn't get to watch the game because that was the whole Spectrum Disney bull crap. But I mean, Clemson really just kind of crapped the bed. Yeah,
turnovers, and it was a mess, an absolute mess of a football game. Yeah, Duke lives on. Duke is fundamentally sound, man. They're square tackles. Boom, they fit gaps. They're good. They pursuit drills. Mike Elko once again, solid defensive football coach taking over. Everyone's saying he's going to, now he's the number 1 candidate for Michigan State, and he'll get a huge payday to go to Michigan State. So, great point. Yeah, they live off turnovers, but they haven't played the greatest of schedules. And Clemson was the, vastly superior football team. They just had mistakes. It was literally 2011 South Florida for all those guys that know that game. That's what happened to Clemson that day.
Do you think like Clemson is just an outstanding 2-2 team? Because that's the vibe I'm getting. Like they're 2-2, but a fluky loss on the road at Duke to open the season, and then they should have beat Florida State. Like,
yeah, obviously, yeah, they had the field goal, the Shank field goal, the guy who just showed up on Monday, Shanks that one. Poor guy. They kept zooming in on his family. That's nice.
Why did ESPN do that? Like,
I don't know.
I almost said that word.
Jump off the railing. It's like, oh my god, that was Clemson. Clemson's interesting. They're good. They got athletes all over the place, but they don't look like Clemson from 15 to 20. They do not look like them at all. They don't have some dudes at positions. Their D line is solid. They got guys. They got guys all over the place. But they do not look like that group of Clemson guys. So, I'm excited for that game. There's a long way to go, but I wouldn't be surprised if Clemson goes 8-4 somehow this year. It's totally possible.
Yeah, I am so pumped, Tim, to go to Notre Dame at Clemson. I am so excited. Because you guys know I own a condo in Clemson. I've mentioned that a few times. We just kind of did a map, like 2 to 2.5 hour radius around where I live.
Sounds like Dabo when he recruits, man. Just a big circle of his guys, right? Yeah.
Except for Klubnik's Austin, Bo Collins.
Yeah,
I think was St. John Bosco. When you watch Clemson, a lot of Notre Dame targets on there. There's a running back. I forget his name.
Oh boy,
Flylee, Swimley. I don't know. He wasn't that big of a name.
Yeah, you watch him and you're just like, that's an NFL back because of all the stuff they do in the NFL with their running backs, catching passes. He's gonna be a better NFL player than he is a college player.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I've said the same about Chris Tyree. I think maybe Maris Leafhelm could be that as well. I think Tyree's going to play in the NFL, and I just think he's going to be able to be some kind of special teams.
He's going to drive every Notre Dame fan and be like, "See, we told you he should have been getting the ball at times." So he might be one of those guys.
I do know his name is Will Shipley. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, so instead of Shipley, Mike.
Yeah. Okay, Tim. We haven't done one of these in a little while. Okay.
Oh boy.
You ready for our old 60-second clips?
Sure. What do we got?
Okay.
What do we got? Do you play with 10 again? I mean, what do you got?
Earlier, does Notre Dame still have a chance to make the college football playoff? So basically, I'm trying to up like our Instagram, TikTok, kind of our shorts game, Facebook. We put these all up. So like 60-second clips. So we will just record them live and then we'll do this. And then
we should, Mike, we should do one over under on how many Duke game day signs for ESPN College Game Day is going to have the letter, the number 10 in there. That's what we should do. An over under on the 10.
A drinking game on that, and you will be blacked out by noon for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, you ready for this, Tim?
Sure. I have no idea what the question is, but I'll think on my feet.
I just told you it was, can Notre Dame run the table?
Can they run the table? Sure. Anything's possible. Here we go, right?
Does Notre Dame still have a chance?
I got you. I'm messing with you. I got you.
Tell me, Smalls. All right, here we go. Notre Dame dropped a contest against Ohio State, but then pretty tough schedule along the way, with at Duke, at Clemson, and obviously USC in October. Tim, do you think they have a shot still to make the college football playoff? If they run out, do you think they could get in?
Well, yes. I mean, if they're 11-1, because you're going to have a top 5 win against USC, you're going to have a ranked Duke. Louisville's, when they play them, is going to be undefeated. You still have Clemson with the respect that Clemson has. The biggie will obviously be Duke this week, the Duke Super Bowl there in Durham, North Carolina, and then a top 5 USC game. So you go 11-1. The way they lost and one play against obviously a great Ohio State team. Yes, Notre Dame will definitely have a shot. If they're 11-1, we're going to know a heck of a lot more by midnight this coming Saturday if that's going to be on the table for the Irish.
said run out. I meant win out, but
It's all good.
we'll see if I can get some creative editing in there. So yeah, I still think that
11-1's a tall order. That is going to be if Notre Dame goes 11-1,
which is
it's totally
preseason. We were like, yeah, Notre Dame loses against one of the big three, wins the other two, doesn't have a trap game.
It's
CFP, so it's still right ahead of them. It's not like something happened that was like a disaster, right? I mean, listen, the game itself, 10 men, get it. That was a disaster, exactly. But the outcome, not a disaster.
But let's go back to our August things where everything was like, how many articles? Oh, Duke, the trap. This is not a trap game, which is awesome now. The Notre Dame players are like, trap game. Are you kidding me? We're going on the road. College game. Zeke Correll yesterday in the press conference was like giddy. Like game day, he was like, let's go. He knows this is a big game. The players know this. Once again, if it was at home, 2-2 Duke, that type of thing, no. This is a ranked Duke team, a team that beat Clemson. The players are a little bit more giddy going into this game than I think people are going to give them credit for.
Tim, it's also just it's got to be a factor for the team of like to get that bad taste out of their mouth. Like, let's go and just beat the living hell out of Duke. And Louisville, I don't think is going to sneak up on Notre Dame either. They're undefeated, right?
They're going to be undefeated. They got NC State. They handle NC State. You got them undefeated. And then you got USC who's going to be undefeated. So
Louisville already ranked.
Yeah, it's gonna just keep going right down the row, and then that bye is gonna come at the most perfect time. Seriously, if Notre Dame is sitting at 7-1, that's gonna be unbelievable. If they're sitting at 7-1.
Tex ND says 11-1. You guys are optimistic. Did we say? Tim?
I didn't say 11-1.
I said we think they're going to go 11-1. We're talking about if they do.
If they do.
I think 10-2 is probably more realistic right now. They're going to drop one of these games. There's just too many good teams. My guess right now would be 10-2. I had Notre Dame beating Ohio State before the start of the season. Yeah.
But it's 10-2. But now that's going to be a great question. Whoever, they lose a second game, what's that tone going to be after the Ohio State? You lose a second one. What is that tone going to be? So many missed opportunities. Is 10-2. Does it feel like 2006 where 10-2 just felt like blah, we're going to play LSU in the Sugar Bowl, who cares? That's going to be an interesting feel.
Yeah, Dennis makes a great point. Like, yeah, a lot of things have to work out in Notre Dame's favor for them to still make the college football playoff. Absolutely.
Of course. But that's college football. I mean, we talk about these playoffs. It's like, my God, there's going to be so much movement. I mean, you got the Pac-10 basically with 3 top 10 teams. That's all going to change shortly. The SEC is going to do the same thing. Yeah, the Big Ten's got 3 top 10s. They're all going to work each other out. So there's going to be a ton. And then you got the Irish with some big marquee games still ahead of them.
Notre Dame does not control their destiny anymore, right? But I just feel like Notre Dame's 4-1. Most other teams only played 4 games, but just like now we're getting into the real thick of conference slate across the country. And I mean, up to this point, you can count on 2 hands, like the amount of like big games there's been. And now we're like really getting into big games everywhere. So like look at Michigan. They played the YMCA down the street from me. They played Tim's team.
They don't play a ranked team, I think, till Penn State. Is that like game 8 or it's something ridiculous? Game 9?
Nuts. So like everyone's gonna start playing some teams. So more opportunities for upsets when you're not playing UNLV and whoever. Actually play some decent little teams. So, Tim?
I hear you.
Yeah, 49 minutes in feels like we just started, considering how long some of our shows have been going lately. But we both have early mornings. I'm back on our YouTube channel tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. to talk some Notre Dame recruiting with Kyle Kelly. Tim and I are about to record our final thoughts, observations, and prediction video that will go up Friday around 11 a.m., 12 p.m. or so. So we are going to cut this live show off a little bit earlier than we usually do Buckner coming back next year to be the starting QB. That's adorable.
Well, I think they're going to the portal, right? So
Never say never,
that's
but
not no,
I
that's
will
not
say never.
happening.
I would be
I don't
stunned.
think that's happening.
So yeah, we're gonna end the show there, folks. Really appreciate it for you watching here. Hit that thumbs up. Hey Dennis, appreciate the super chat. I wanted to pop this up real quick. Steve says Tim Hyde go see. That is brilliant. I love that.
Love that.
Okay, yeah, smash that thumbs up button, folks, if you've not done so yet. Appreciate you watching. Go to blueandgold.com for more Notre Dame football and recruiting coverage, and we will catch you guys next time.